Welcome to the first edition of the Muzi Minute. The Muzi Minute's an automotive podcast that covers everything in the automotive industry, from the sales to the service to the parts department, in an effort to help answer you, the consumer's questions. My name is Marshall Tully, and I'll be your host on this journey. And let's dive right in. I'm really excited about our first guest. Our first guest is Rob Roderick. He's our electric vehicle specialist here at the dealership, and Rob's here to answer the top 10 questions about the Chevrolet Bolt. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you for having me. My name is Rob, electric vehicle specialist here at Muzi Chevrolet.
All right, so let's get rolling. New release, Chevrolet Bolt, all electric. Really excited to have the product here at the dealership. Sort of touted as the first affordable, long-range electric vehicle to hit the market.
That is correct. The Chevy Bolt has come out with the LT and Premier model trims, both getting an EPA estimated electric range of 238 miles.
So that was the first question, was what kind of range the Bolt has. I mean, is that range, does that get affected in New England by the weather, driving habits, things like that?
It does. That range will roughly fluctuate about 10 to 20%, whether that be on cold days, depleting a little bit of range, and on warmer days, of course, exceeding that EPA estimated miles of range.
Are there any tips that you can provide the consumer to sort of maximize that range?
The Bolt can actually be prepared in advance during charging for departure times, and in which case you can set it up 10 to 15 minutes before your departure to warm that battery so that you are getting the full extended range.
Okay. Until the Bolt's release, range anxiety was obviously a major issue for consumers. How is the development of the charging infrastructure across the state of Massachusetts going? It's
been huge here in Mass. The Mass Pike has actually done an overhaul now where a lot of the stations now and gas stations are having electrical charge points set up. You can even find a lot of that infrastructure on apps like PlugShare, for instance, ChargePoint. And now with the Bolt having My Chevy app, you can actually see all of the charging that is applicable to you right on the app on any commute that you may have.
So I'm a consumer, I purchase a Bolt, drive it home. How long am I plugging that thing in to get a charge?
Well, we always recommend doing a 240 volt charging unit. The 240 volt charging unit will get you about 8 to 10 hours to a full max charge. We also carry here at Muzi a DC fast charger, at which case using that will get you charged up in about 2 hours of time.
Okay. And so can you plug in anywhere with that type of charger that the Bolt has, or are there certain plugs you can plug into?
You can. The Bolt comes with a 120 volt portable charger, at which case does take about 51 hours on that charge. 240 being a CCS charger, SAE combo charger, fairly standard across the board now, with the exception of, say, the Chatamo charger or Tesla's charging units. Can be found mostly anywhere. Something like that, would take you about 8 to 10 hours, and we definitely recommend that.
So consumers that have been buying electric vehicles from Chevy in the past were familiar with the Chevy Volt, and now they've released the Bolt. What's the difference between those two vehicles?
Main difference, the Volt is a range extending electric vehicle, so there is a gas backup. It provides 53 miles of pure electric with a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder range extender to back you up with another 378 miles roughly of range. In which case, when the gas backup steps in, it acts as a converter, so you're still an electric vehicle but just with a gas conversion, whereas the Bolt is 238 of pure electric driving miles.
Okay. And what are the differences? I mean, what different trim levels can you buy the Bolt in?
The Bolt comes in an LT trim level versus a Premier trim level. The LT trim level comes cloth seating, same range, but does come with some nice safety features to add to that, with a 10.2-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. When you step up to a Premier model, you get a few more things in the way of technology, with leather added, of course. You have a surround vision camera, as well as a rear view mirror camera to add to just an unobstructed rear view of the vehicle, as well as all the safety features that you can find on LT.
Nice. So I think that in addition to the electric range and the environmental impact of the vehicle, one of the main draws seems to be the tax incentives that are available both federally and at the state level. Could you go into what those incentives are and how someone could go about claiming those?
Correct. On the purchase side of things, there is $10,000 available in subsidies. The $2,500 would be a state exemption. Application process can be found on Chevy.com or More EV. They make it nice and easy. It's really just a click and plug, where you just plug in your purchase and sale agreement and send it over. You do have to lease for 36 months on the lease side of things. There's also on the purchase side $7,500 in state exemption, whereas on the lease side you do not get the federal exemption. You only get the state.
Nice. So I think that was pretty comprehensive. I think we went over, the top 10 questions that we receive here at the dealership. But if you guys have any additional questions, I'm going to put Rob's email in the link below. Feel free to reach out to him with any questions. And thank you guys so much for tuning into the first episode. We're going to try to make this a weekly podcast, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.